And a very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Lord with the CBC Evening News, and our top story tonight: independence celebrations in Barbados are in high gear. Our Lisa Broom tells us about one of the featured events that came off at the Prime Minister's official residence last night.
An evening of elegance here at the Ilawa Court, just one of the many events to celebrate the Golden Jubilee. And from everything that we've seen and heard and certainly tasted, it was surely a cool stroll down memory lane.
Barbadians from here and abroad came out in their finest last night at Ilawa Court for one of the major events on the independence celebrations calendar. It was dubbed Nostalgia, an evening of elegance, and the patrons responded, the men all suited and booted. The women, never to be outdone, looked splendid. And the food, well, that was 100% Bajan as well. From the traditional sweet bread to the delicious ham cutters, for some, particularly those Barbadians living overseas, being back to celebrate the Golden Jubilee was a no-brainer.
Well, I am so happy to be back here celebrating 50 years of independence in Barbados. We started in Toronto, but of course, the climax is here in Barbados, and it feels so good, so good.
Well, I was there as a little 9-year-old kid with my first brother, Michael Leargard. We were there at the Carson, and I'm hoping to be there that morning for the 50th. It's a wonderful thing. It's a very wonderful thing, and I made it this time because I don't think I'll be alive to see another 50th.
And in a brief address, Prime Minister Fendel Stewart reminded the audience about the challenge he issued at the start of the celebrations and talked about his hopes going forward.
I want to think that over the last year, you have been reflecting on these questions, internalizing their significance, and determining at the personal level, at the institutional level, and at the national level to do what house cleaning is required to ensure that we pass on to future generations a Barbados of which they can feel proud, a Barbados which they will have deserved.
Several other events are on the cards for the celebrations, including the Prime Minister's Gala Dinner, the traditional Independence Parade, and several concerts and shows. Lisa Broom, CBC News.
Well, the Barbados Jubilee Honour Bill 2016 has been passed in the Senate. The legislation will allow 50 Barbadians who have contributed significantly to the island's development since independence to be recognized. Leader of Government Business in the Upper House, Senator Maxine McLean, in moving the second reading of that bill, says Barbadians have been nominated from several categories.
There would have been areas including education, entrepreneurship, science and technology, cultural arts, the labor movement, business, innovation, sports, medicine, civil society, and the public service. And in looking at those many categories, it is evident that in identifying those, the committee which would have sat to identify the categories would recognize that the contributions made by Barbadians, the involvement in Barbadians should be recognized across the full gamut of areas of competence, areas of interest, areas of commitment.
And Barbadians are being encouraged to use the spirit of nationalism surrounding the 50th to be more innovative. It's coming from Senator Dr. Esther Bayer-Sukum. She told colleagues in the Upper House ideas should be generated, especially among the millennials, to help solve some of the island's problems.
You have been endowed with everything that it takes to be able to set about solving this problem. You have the education, we have resources, we are creating more systems for you to do it and set about to actually start to solve some of the problems that we face, whether it be our waste, sewage, the environment issues, our beaches, our finances, whatever it is, whether it's traffic, whatever, we have the ability to solve our problems. We've done it before and we can do it again. And that is what our independence project has been about.
Dr. Barasuku says national passion among Barbadians has been rekindled by the programs initiated by the Independence Coordinating Committee. She says the ideas from a cross-section of the Barbadian Committee were included in the plans for the celebrations. Meantime, an independent senator, while supporting the bill, is calling for 3 more persons to be made national heroes. Senator Professor Sir Henry Fraser says Clenno Wickham, T.T. Lewis and Sir Frank Worrell should all be made national heroes for the sacrifices they made.
They were people who suffered for the country, who were outstanding individuals, absolute icons of the Barbadian tradition, of Barbadian leadership, and of Barbadian suffering. People who literally lost their life at a young age, having contributed immensely to the glory that we have in Barbados. People who helped Barbados to punch above their weight. People who, by their inspiration, made a huge difference in Barbados. And I refer to those people who have not yet been named as national heroes, but who, like Busser, were the only prominent patriots who lost their lives on behalf of Barbados.
Well, industrial action at the Grantley Adams International Airport has spread to other departments at that facility. Kent Jerson has been following that story and brings us the very latest. Kent?
Yes, Lisa, well, CBC understands the engineers and custodians, they're the ones responsible for cleaning the facility, have also taken action. GAIA's corporate communications specialist, Keith Goddard, confirmed that some members of staff did leave their positions. He added that there was no official communication from the NUPW and the airport's management was monitoring the situation. Mr. Goddard stressed, however, that the airport remains operational. For the past 2 weeks, as many people would know, immigration and customs officers at the airport have been on a go-slow. This has been sanctioned by their representative, the NUPW, which is at loggerheads with the Personnel Administration Division regarding the treatment of NUPW President Akani McDowell. The union is fighting against a move by PAD to have Mr. McDowell removed from acting as Health Planner 1 and revert to his substantive post as an environmental health assistant. And that's the state of play as we know it. Back to you, Lisa.
Thank you very much for that update, Kent. Well, coming up, darkened skies dumped heavy rain on the island today. We'll show you how it affected some people. Stay with us.
Don't let your data experience slow you down. Step up to Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network, more than twice as fast as the slow network. Get more with Digicel. Digicel, the fastest 4G network in Barbados. Dial *153# to sign up to Digicel today.
Sandals, sandals, sandals galore. Megville gives you ladies sandals for this week only. Monday to Saturday, any pair of sandals for only $25. So go to Megville on Tudor Street, High Street and Palmetto Street for any pair of sandals for only $25. This week only, Monday to Saturday.
More great cities just got closer. The Scotiabank Aero Platinum MasterCard is now even better. Fly to New York, Miami, Orlando, and Fort Lauderdale with just 20,000 Scotia points. With your new Scotiabank Aero Platinum MasterCard, you'll receive a welcome bonus of 10,000 Scotia points, so you can enjoy the cities you love most sooner than ever. Apply today. Call 426-7000 or visit your nearest branch.
The show will go on as planned despite the showers, and that's the word from the organizers of the Come Town event scheduled for this evening in the city. Now, that event was originally scheduled for last week but was postponed due to the threat of rain. However, when the CBC team visited Independence Square, many of the stages and stalls were up with only final touches being made. Communications officer with the Barbados Tourism Product Authority, Renice Bostic, says the show will go on with some slight adjustments being made to the program.
We have put some contingency plans in place because we were mindful that we might have rain today. So some things are not going to come off exactly as we had advertised. So for example, the line dance party supposed to be on Broad Street. We have redirected it here to Independence Square. And we're also going to have the dance show, where there's a possibility it may not be in Swan Street, we may have to redirect it here as well. But the events are still happening, just not in the same locations that they might have been advertised. But the museum tours, the heritage tours, indeed our entertainment is still going to be on.
Now, earlier in the day, heavy showers drenched the country, prompting the issuing of a flood warning from the Met Office. Several areas were flooded, including Pine East-West Boulevard, Chapman Lane, Murphy's Pasture, and some avenues in the New Orleans. Traffic also snarled along the roadways as many motorists tried to ease through the water or diverted to other routes. And we'll have an update on the conditions later in the news in the weather segment. Now, Brighton, St. George and surrounding communities were among some of the hardest flood-hit areas today. While most people turned around and found a different route, some motorists took a chance and tried to get through the 2 to 3 feet of muddy water. Now, some of them were successful, but the water proved too much for others, whose vehicles quietly ground to a halt. When a CBC News team visited the area, stalled vehicles could be seen at different points along the watery roadway as a virtual river of water flowed down the road at a rapid pace. A driver's stalled vehicle had to be towed by a tractor from the nearby plantation, while the force of the water made the task challenging. The tractor was eventually able to pull the vehicle to drier ground. Well, there's been renewed commitment to the literary arts by government and the University of the West Indies. Principal and Pro-Vice Chancellor of the Cayfield campus, Udine Bartos, says a revised curriculum will reflect that support.
The campus is exploring developing an MFA in creative writing. Established writers, undergraduate and postgraduate students, persons in advertising and marketing, retirees, all represent a cross-section or the wide range of persons who would be targeted and could be targeted with an MFA in creative writing.
Principal Bartol made the offer to those gathered at the launch of the popular BIM magazine's Independence issue. Contributors were awarded and special tribute was paid to founding editor Frank Collymore. Current editor Esther Phillips is suggesting a need for greater youth involvement in that publication, a move Minister of Culture Stephen Lashley pledges to facilitate.
I am going to offer again the Youth Department of the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Youth as being a key partner in helping to shape the electronic versions of BIM and to ensure the continuity of this fantastic magazine. So I'm offering the Youth Department to assist in that regard.
And still to come, efforts to streamline LIAT. And here's a tip now from the Coverley Medical Center.